First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekah HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and the elder bishops as well, and overall to you brothers out there, especially to the sincere among us all, that we believe that we are of the hopeful elect. And once again, it's your brother, Laban, coming at you with another video. And I don't know what I'm going to call this video, but it's going to be centered around we need salvation, something along those lines. We are under this devil, this devil which is violent in the earth. As Job put it, they were violent in the earth because of their lower estate, but they're still violent in the earth based on the things that they've done and what they continue to do right now. If you thought slavery wasn't enough, well, things have just gotten a lot worse in their hands. And these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, but only for a moment. And so I want to read this. This is Job 30 and verse 1. But now they are younger than I, have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want of famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former times desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. And they were driven from among men, and they cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together, because they were in the mountains of Seir. So when you address the Edomites, you can also address them as the people of Mount Seir, which Seir means hairy mountains, if I'm correct, from the Hebrew word shayar. Let's look into that real quick just to see if I'm right. Yeah, let's go here, and we're gonna type in Mount Seir. Yeah, so it's Shayar, I believe. Let me see something real quick if I'm correct. Yeah, it's Sayar, which means hairy or shaggy. Because from above, when you look at Petra or Mount Seir, the mountains looks like hairs. So now let's go back and read what we was just reading off of in the book of Job, the 30th chapter. So as this reads, among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. And I mean, he would know, because when you go back to the first chapter, Job, matter of fact, let me go and do this instead. Job 1 and verse 1. Yeah, it says there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Yeah, because he was dwelling in the land of Uz. It doesn't mean he was an Edomite, but he was in the land of Uz, which is a town in the land of Edom. So he saw how vile, how of a lower estate, which the word vile means. It means to be of a lower state that they were at this time. So it reads, yeah, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together, and they were children of fools, yea, children of base men, and they were viler than the earth. And now am I their song, yea, I am their byword. And that's what's happening right now. So what I would say is that they're still viler than the earth. Base men. No other nation could do this other than the nation of Edom. To compromise your food to the point where your food is ridden with human waste. Or another case in point, like this other guy on Rabbi, there was a video that was aired out back in the early 90s, I think late 80s, early 90s. And he spoke about how what they do is they put human remains in these fast food restaurants, food. So they've been doing this for years. Okay, so that vile base man attitude is still lingering in the nation of Edom to this very day, in this very moment in time. And this is the reason why, one of the major reasons why we need to be delivered and saved anytime soon. We'll all be dead, as well as that's written, that there'll be no flesh to be saved. All right, we're in a state of emergency. We've been in a state of emergency ever since we got off them cargo slave ships. We need salvation, man, from this devil. Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to read some more on this, and then I'm going to look up a word that I have on deck. Yeah, so when we go back up real quick. Yeah, there's a method as to why I did that. Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, so verse 8 again. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth, and now am I their song. Yea, I am their byword. And that's just the thing. Jake has become their song, as well as it's written that in this strange land they desire that we sing one of the songs of Zion. Like, for example, you got shows like American Idol, or even these already made celebrities that made it in the music business, which these people that have made it in the music business are nothing more than entertainers for the rich, the plutocrats, which are nothing more than Edomites, JOO wishes, so that you understand. All right, they're the ones that's looking at our people as a form of entertainment. All right, making use of this stupefaction, and again, looking at it as a form of entertainment. All right. Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to look up another precept as well that I had in mind. Yeah, that's it right there. Singing one of the songs of Zion. Yeah, this is Psalms 137. And verse, we can begin by reading the first verse. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yeah, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captives required of us a song, and that they wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How should we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? And there was a reggae anthem that was done after this scripture over here. So this is the state of affairs that we as the people are in right now. We're nothing more than entertainment for these devils. And that's the main reason why you have a lot of our people that have made it in this society that became, musicians of sort, so that therefore the elite can further enjoy, or the super rich can further enjoy their kingdom. Okay, so yes, we get a kick out of watching these people when we've grown up listening to these people, but for the most part, the super rich, they're more so entertained. They're more entertained by what our people do. All right. And they use these people as pawns just so that Jake can continue to be further more stupefied than he ever was before, keeping Jake at a low level of thinking. And so that therefore they can continue to use Jake for what they can use Jake for, and the rest of the world. All right. Because the thing with Jake influences the world. So if you can make stupid ass music that's being created by these multi-billion-pound corporations, then you can influence the world by that same stupidity. Therefore, now it's much more easier to govern the masses of the people. All right. So we were used, man. We were used and abused for other means, and still are to this very moment in time. All right. So, as well as this reads, and now am I the song, am the byword. And they abhor me, and they flee far from me, and they spare not to spit in my face, because they have loosed my cords and afflicted me, and they have also let loose the bridle before me. Now, I don't mean to go all the way from the topic, because the topic is this, is that we're under men that are viler than the earth. But I would still say that they are viler than the earth, because look at what they're doing. Look what they have been doing for all these years. And it's just getting worse. So I want to even read this as well. So this is the word sahak, which is right in relation to the word Isaac, from the Hebrew word yatazaka, which means laughter. So let me go back over here real quick and see something. Yeah, right. Yeah, so this is what I should have had went into after I got done reading the first verse. Yeah, so as this reads, to laugh, play, mock, to laugh, usually in contempt or derision, to sport, play, to make sport, to jest, to play, including instrumental music, singing, dancing, to laugh mockingly. Right. So that's what we're there for. That's why you have these comedians. This is the reason why Jake is pushed to doing the foolishness that they're doing, just so that the higher ups can laugh, and therefore you can laugh, and it stupefies you in the process. Okay. So we're being had in derision, made as a joke. And meanwhile, as we're entertaining the world, this is what they're doing behind closed doors. Okay. And this is also another way of having us in derision, mocking us. And as well as they're now mocking the world, having the world eat food that isn't even food. And so we eat this stuff and we get sick. And then we got to go to the doctor to see what's up with us. And we don't even really know exactly why we're sick. And you got people that will eat healthy food and still get sick. You know? Because it's the environment we're in. The environment we're in alone is toxic. But in the future, we're going to be eating foods, if this stuff will continue to rule long enough, no matter what it's going to be, whether it's salads we're eating, whether it's greens we're eating, it's all going to be contaminated. Somehow, some way. Most of our food is contaminated already. But this devil really wants to further that agenda in contaminating every single thing of what we eat. All right? Because they can't help themselves. They're just the devil. The scripture says that the spirit that's in them is not upright in them. All right? And what I'll do is I'll put this video in the description box, a link to it, and you can watch this for yourself. Because, you know, I got some stuff I want to go over. And if I play this video, I'm going to be here all day, man. But then again, you know what? Something's telling me, man, to play this video and then we can move forward. So you know what I'll do? I'll play this video. Right here. Kosher butchery.
We mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemies. And the bodies, we're not cannibals. So what we do is we take those, because we can make some shekels and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular thing, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it. So
yeah, and the reason why they can't believe it, because it's wickedness beyond the people's imagination, because most people don't think like that. And also it's to do with the truth being in plain sight as well, right? So they do all of this, man, to make mockery of the people, and especially us. Like you even heard him say in that video that you know, the average American is nothing more than a goyim, and he was really implying a white American. So how much more a so-called black American? How much more a so-called Latino, Native American Indian? That would then make us the least of the goyim, useless eaters. There's another word. So they feel as though because we're all goyim, they can just do whatever they want to us. We don't matter. But realistically, they're the goyim, and as well as these other nations are the goyim unto us. All right, and even yet in the kingdom, yeah, we're going to kick the ass, but even still, we're going to perform our righteousness onto these nations. All right, this man is just a damn demon from the abyss that the Lord created, to being the devil that the Bible speaks about, the evil one. All right, the spirit who's not upright in him. So now let's go and read this as well. Let's go and read Proverbs 14 and verse 9. Fools make mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor. And yes, you know, we can apply this to our people as well. However, the greatest fools are the ones that believe that they're the Most High, and that they don't believe in the Most High, as well as that's written, that the fool have said in his heart that there is no power. All right. And it's going to be well known how much of a fool these devils really are when it's all said and done. So anyway, I want to read some of this article as well, which goes to show that what this so-called rabbi has said is actually true. And they've been doing this since 2001, I believe, because he was speaking about the war in Iraq and 9/11 and all of that. Yeah, so as this reads, Bill Gates exposed pumping human remains into food supply. While we were locked down, masked up, and distracted by fear, the elites were already moving to the next phase of their master plan. Take Bill Gates, who quietly became the largest private owner of farmland in America, millions of acres, and now he's using it against us. It's called alkaline hydrolysis, a process that dissolves human remains and raw sewage into a toxic industrial sludge. Thanks to shady backdoor deals with local councils, Gates is already pumping it into municipal water supplies. So there you go. They're already doing this stuff, man, and that's the reason why he as we've read articles about this a while back ago, maybe about 2 years ago, I'm guessing, how he's been gradually getting ownership of land just so your food can be compromised. And just like I said in the early of this video, this devil is on a path to destroying everything of what we eat. And if he can destroy what we eat, then guess what? We'll be thoroughly destroyed, and we'll be weak to the point where we'll never have an ability to fight against these devils. Before the one world system is set up, this devil wants to do quite a bit to stifle in people's ability to live the way that they should live. Okay, and implant implantable devices in them, but it ain't gonna get that far. So anyway, which ties into the curse which would have taken place, especially in this generation, in this time, among the children of Israel, is that we would eat all the foul bread among the heathen. Yeah, so I'm gonna go all the way down here. In verse 13, and the Lord said, Yahweh said, Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them. Because this devil, once he goes all around the planet Earth, what is he going to do? He's going to compromise your food. And even these other nations. Now, Esau may not travel the world to compromise, the soil, but these other nations, they're gonna go along with the plan of Esau to jeopardizing your food, because they're also part of Esau's agenda as well. Okay, to keep most of the people down and stupid. And you'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of Israelites out here versus these other nations, because the Israelites are a big nation. Naturally. Isaiah 47 and verse 6. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. And thou didst show them no mercy upon the ancient. Hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And the yoke represents slavery, because when you go all the way back to the 1800s, what was going on at that time? They were placing yokes upon our necks. Now, from a figurative standpoint, we have yokes because we've been indebted to the banks. How so? Because what we do is we use the FRNs, and every time we use these FRNs become less and less powerful, because what they've been doing throughout the years is printing money and allowing things to happen so that these nations can let go of the currency that you have to use from day to day. So each and every time your money inflates, and therefore the prices of goods go up. And then you have this whole notion of these banks borrowing money. And so that doesn't help. So you're indebted to the system. You're a slave to these corporations by the banking system. All right? You're yoked into the system. You're a slave. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. And so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, and neither didst remember the latter end of it. Right? They didn't remember their latter end because they didn't think they was going to have a latter end, as well as it's written that they think that the houses shall continue forever. All right? So that's another way on how the Lord polluted his inheritance, is by giving us into their hands. And so therefore we would compromise in the projects. The information that's being fed down, our minds, and as well as the food that's been going down our throats, which has been compromised, heavily compromised. So we've been polluted as a people. Okay, and this devil is going to continue to be a polluter, because the spirit in him is not upright in him. He's a toxicant. All right. That's how this devil is. He is the evil that is prospering, as well as it's written that is the wicked that prospers in this world. I'm roughly paraphrasing the scripture in the book of Psalm 73. Okay, and I think it's Psalm 73. Let me see if I'm correct. Psalms 47 and verse 6. I was wroth with mine people, and I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. And thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. Right. So the Lord polluted his inheritance, in other words, his people, by giving us into their hands because of our wrongdoing, because of our transgression. So because we've been given onto their hands, we've been compromised based on information that they fed down our minds and the food that we had to eat from them, which has been compromised. So every single thing that's been compromised, we had to receive it. Because according to this guy over here, we're Goyim. Okay, we don't matter. And he was implying that word onto white Americans. So again, as well as I'm going to say, this explains why Jake has been the most compromised and the most ill-treated, because we're not even a concern to matter among these JOO-issues. That's why they treated us the way that they treated us, and used us as guinea pigs for all kinds of variants. And they've even done experiments on our people. We could talk about the Tuskegee experiment. And even where it concerns their narratives, Jake has been used to propose a narrative to their own people under the guise of black culture. And under this black culture, there's a doctrine that you got to go by. You got to learn to accept criminal behavior of all sorts, whether it's prostitution, whether it's gang violence, whether it's drug dealing, being a bunch of strippers on a pole. All of this stuff came of black culture, which was a manufactured culture by the JOOishes to destroy you. All right? So we've been polluted. We've been given into their hands, and we've been polluted on every aspect of our lives. Again, from the information that was fed to us, to the food that we had to go get from these devils, and the indoctrination, which, I didn't really have to say that because, again, you're indoctrinated by the information you're given. All right? Destroying families by funding the women's liberation movement. Who funded that? The Rockefeller. One of the Rockefellers funded that back in 1970. All right? And then what they did is they projected this women's rights stuff on the television. Even to the point where you had so-called black women that got behind that stuff. So that was there to destroy the family setup, and then also to get women to go to work so that they can be paying taxes. So now all of these JOOishes, they're collecting your tax money by an abundance. So rather than the men just paying taxes, now these women have to go out and pay taxes now. So everybody's under tribute. All right? That was the whole purpose for the women's lib. It wasn't to do with giving women the rights to own land and real estate. It was so that they can get in the workforce, just so that they can collect the tax money and also weaken the family. Because these JOOishes, they understand the power of family, the power of the nuclear family. So we can destroy the nuclear family, especially in regards to the working class, then we can control the working class. All right? And then we can control even the middle class, the lower middle class. And we can use these broken people for our own agenda. And that's exactly what they've been doing to our people, especially. They've been able to use our people more effectively because, see, when you're coming from a broken household, a lot of the times you're going to be coming from a poor household. All right? You're going to be coming from a place of being in need. So when you're coming from a place of being in need, you don't have time for integrity. So what are you going to do? You're going to give up your soul just so you can appease your enemies, because your enemy has what you want, what you need, which is financial aid. All right? That's how this devil gets down. He'll destroy something that you need just so he can basically determine whether you are allowed to get these things or not. And if you're willing to keep going at him, then basically what you're showing is you're willing to be indebted to him. So the more indebted you are to this devil, is the more now he can see that he can manipulate you. He can use you for what he wants out of you. All right? And this reminds me of what's written in the book of, what are we talking? John 16, I think is, no, Luke 16. Yeah, Luke 16. Yeah, the rich man and the poor man. Here we have it. Right. Yeah, so as this reads, Luke 16, and we're going to get, well, I could just start from reading verse 19. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fed sumptuously every day. And the purple represents royalty. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, which Lazarus represents the estate of Israel right now. And the sores represents the curses. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died And it was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom, and the rich man also died and was buried. Right, so here's the point. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Because the thing with these devils, they've stole all of the wealth. All right? They've passed laws and different things to prohibit you from owning your own land, owning real estate, truly. So when you don't own any kind of real estate or land ownership, you don't have anything. Now you're a slave. And then now you become tributary to those that own everything that you should have had owned, to defend yourselves financially, to defend yourself wealth-wise, to defend your families and your people. All right? All of those things were stripped from us. So now we have to go to our enemies, as that's written in the book of Deuteronomy 28, for the want of all things. Because the lands that you stand on every single day, they own it. All right? And that's why these devils are able to do everything that they can do, because they have power over every single thing, including the most important stuff, such as government. They own lock, stock, and barrel your government. Own your government. And that's why your government has to dance to the tune and give you this false notion that you have some kind of level of power to where you can change the world based on your vote. This pseudo ideology of democracy. All right? That's why the stuff that you didn't vote for comes passing into your life. So let me go back to where I was at as well. I think we was over here, right? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this is the next precept I wanted to read. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything, because I know I was right here. Yeah, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to move to the next prophecy, and we're going to read this over here. This is Psalms 33 in verse 18. Behold, the eyes of the Lord is upon them that fear him, and upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their souls from death and to keep them alive in famine. Our soul waiteth for the Lord, and he is our help and our shield. For our hearts shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us according as we hope in thee. And that's the bottom fucking line, is that we need salvation. We need to be delivered from death, because right now we're living in death. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, thy rod and thy staff, it comfort me. Meaning these scriptures is our comforter, which gives us hope. And what we have is a lively hope that we will be delivered and saved from the bondage of corruption, which is these bodies, and as well as this overall circumstance that we face today, which is what's needed, man. So that's all I have to say in this video over here. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and his Son, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakah Hakwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great Millstone that have taught us, and to include the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Brakatham, to the 144,000, and as well as the 1/3. Shalom.